How's everyone doing today? Good. Tired? Lots of education? Lots of talking? Okay. I just appreciate everybody being here to support me. This is Claiming Your Seat, Overcoming Imposter Syndrome. And I'm just going to kind of start diving right into it. It's going to be a session where we do also pause and reflect a little bit, and you can write some stuff down that you're thinking about in the moment and take notes just to help you learn more about yourself and grow and how to advance your career and personal, professional, all of it. My name is Jessica Curtis. I work for MW Imaging. I'm also on the WSBA board. And so I wasn't actually supposed to be speaking at this conference until a couple months ago when someone else had dropped off, and I was like, all right, I have one. I think I can do this again. But the stage feels different since it's in my hometown, right? The other part is, it's kind of a funny story because when I originally started this presentation, I was supposed to present it with my boss, and then she ended up not being able to do it, and I called her crying, and I was like, I can't do this without you. So just a little ironic that speaking on imposter syndrome and then had like the biggest imposter syndrome out of anybody else in the room. I've been in the industry for 14, almost 15 years now. I worked for a few different companies. I'm an ambassador for women in leadership. I'm on the WSBA board, helping with some of the socials and the back end planning, specifically with this event. I am also a mom, a wife. I coach little girls soccer. They're a lot. Teaching them not to be imposters too. And then I just have a soft spot for this entire industry. I think that we have a great group of people, from the engineers to the vendors. There's always someone around to help you, whether it isn't a vendor or if you want to advance your career and you need someone to bounce ideas off of and talk to. This is the industry to do it in. There's so many people willing to help you grow and learn. Also, I am type B and I'd love to be type A, but I'm not. So the objectives today are, we're going to go over recognizing how you might be impacted by imposter syndrome, and then we'll talk about some different strategies to help you overcome that, and then along with that, just kind of develop an action plan for yourself and give you some tools just to take away and maybe work on for yourself in your everyday life, your career, at work, whatever it is that you're feeling you need to continue growing. Trying not to read my slides, but I also have a lot of good notes on there too. I always like to start by asking just an intentional question. That might be the part-time yogi in me, but just ask yourselves, like, have you ever felt like you had to prove that you belong? Feel free, if you want to share it out loud, if you want to write down like those situations too. Sometimes I always think like writing it down and getting it out helps you move past it a little bit as well. And I think, I mean, it's something I think everybody's felt like at some point, especially being a female in a very male-dominated industry, guys. For me personally, I'll share my experience. I've been in a few different industries before I found HTM, and I always used to take on this role of a caretaker, an event planner. I would put myself in this position to where like you're kind of in the center of everything, and you're helping plan, coordinate, do things to try to bring people together to try to add value to what you're doing every day. And there is value in that, but that was always because I didn't actually believe that I added value in whatever role that was that I was in at the time. So it was like, oh, I love doing this stuff. Well, yeah, but you don't have to take on those roles simply to be included, is the point there. So. And I mean, when it comes to proving that you belong, even in the last year, I've had situations where I've been in meetings and I can't get things to move forward with certain people until I bring in my boss because she has a VP title, or I bring in my director of operations and he's a different gender, and we're saying the same thing over and over and over again. And they're repeating the same thing that I have told this customer, but it's not until I bring someone that's perceived as being higher up or more important than what my role is that we're able to actually get some traction. So I guess it never really goes away. Imposter syndrome is really just a trendy term, right? It's across all industries. You're going to see it on podcasts everywhere. And that, I think that helps a lot, right? Listening to podcasts, talking to people about it. But it's just this sense of feeling like you need to prove that you belong somewhere, or you belong in a room, or you belong in a space, right? You have to prove your credibility, or you might be second guessing, do I actually belong in this role that I'm doing? That means that you care, right? That's a big part of it. Or you might be looking at it as, oh, I just got lucky. I got this job, or I got put on this special project, or I got put in this role. And those are kind of those negative things that sneak in and speak to you and challenge the fact that you are actually qualified to be there. And you don't always need to be qualified to be somewhere in order to successfully fill that role in your career, if that makes sense. I don't know how to scroll this on here, sorry. So, and in all fairness, when I originally did this presentation, it was 100% geared towards women. And I love seeing all the men in this room because it's always been a conversation where I think more women have felt this, but it's nice to know that we're not alone and that everybody might feel this at some point. But women experience this a lot more, and this can help you support your spouse or your coworkers or what have you as well. We're seen as agreeable. We might downplay our expertise. There could be a lack of support and culture at work, whatever that is. An example that I like to give is someone who is very, very high up, like senior VP at a company, gets asked to take notes in meetings frequently. And her response is, no, I'm here to participate. And I just love that, right? But a lot of times women are perceived as just being like, yes, sure, I'll do that. I know someone that has a similar story in the back of the room. Another fact that I always like to bring up as well is women only represent 18% of the HTM industry. But of that 18%, 22% are managers. So it's like there's movement and there's traction. That was a study that was done by Amy earlier this year that came out, and I just thought that that was really good to keep repeating that those numbers are out there and we see it growing. Is anyone else as nervous as I am?
You're doing great. Remember,
if I swear. I apologize in advance if I swear, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about the internal beliefs. I feel like I'm blocking the screen also, so sorry guys. We're going to talk about the internal beliefs that drive imposter syndrome. And if we're being completely honest as we're going through this, there's external structures that go on and they reinforce that in your everyday life. People are often questioned, or it could be something with visibility or seeing a representation of yourself in the rooms that you're sitting in. And then also confidence. Confidence is a big aspect of why some people might feel this. It's definitely probably mine right there. It's like the love languages for imposter syndrome. We're going to dive more into each of these, but there's just always subtle messaging throughout your days or your weeks or your interactions with different people that, you know, from childhood through adulthood that might affect the way that you feel in certain rooms that you're in. Confidence is often mistaken for bragging, right? A lot. Mistakes can be seen as being unacceptable for people, or you feel like you have to wait until you're qualified before stepping up into some sort of a special project or a different role. And it can create an internal voice that's constantly seeking an approval. Being questioned. Has anybody been questioned before in their job? Anybody? Constantly? Yeah. 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 Thank you for sharing that. As we dive further into what being questioned looks like, it could be being asked to double check your work when a coworker is not being asked for that. It could be people directing technical questions to your colleague, even though you might be more qualified. That happens. Specifically, like you see that a lot between males and females. A boss may ask the male when you've been there longer. Or just being mistaken for someone in an admin or a support role when you're in the room versus actually being technical. Brandy, does that happen to you? So I've had a conversation with a female engineer, and she gets mistaken for a sonographer every time she walks in to work on an ultrasound. They're like, "Where's the tech?" She's like, "Hi, it's me." So just those situations, I mean, they're all over in every industry too. So, and all of that to say too, it being questioned in your job role is going to create that internal monologue of maybe I don't actually sound confident in what I'm talking about. Maybe I missed something. Maybe I made a mistake. You know, maybe I'm just actually not technical enough to do this. And over time, it can turn into different things such as over preparing for whatever it is that you're doing, over explaining why you chose to do something in your job the way that you did or your personal life, right? I over explain all the time. And Kim has been like, stop giving people a reason on why you can't do something. Like, they don't need to know it's your kid's first day of school. And I'm like, well, I like sharing that. Right? So it turns into trying to almost make up excuses to help people understand why you've done something the way that you've done it. None of it's proof that you're not qualified, right? They're system issues, they're training issues, they're communication issues, they're leadership issues that are disguised as maybe a due diligence or, you know, signals of being visible to other people, or that you're not influential enough to challenge the norms, or that you need to be more influential to continue to challenge whatever this thought process is. And I think people get shut down over time when they're questioned, and so they stop continuing to put themselves out there, and then they fall further into that imposter syndrome. Visibility. I like to think of this as a double-edged sword because everybody wants to be seen, but it can also be incredibly intimidating to be seen. And when you're looking at it, it kind of comes back to that. How are you represented in the room that you're sitting in? Personally, like I've sat in so many rooms and meetings where I'm one of maybe two females, and that happens a lot. And so that creates, you know, you kind of stand out a little bit a lot of the times. On top of that, the visibility can make you feel hyper aware of your situation. Whether or not you're presenting to directors or C-suites or VPs or higher ups, you might avoid these roles because of that fear, or avoid presenting in these roles, or avoid stretch projects because of fear of being too visible within your organization. That's imposter syndrome creeping in. You want to be visible. It helps you advance your career. It helps you understand and gain more confidence that you can do these things, whatever that is in the careers, right? Like there's people in here that I know that are in sales, engineers, all of it, still in school. There's a wide berth in this room right now, and I love seeing that. You know, this is the visibility part could be that I don't feel like I'm 100% capable or ready to take on this role or this stretch project or work on this project. Someone else is more qualified to do that. But the only way you can get qualified is to do it. How many times, like when you were younger, did you apply for a job and you never had enough experience to get it but you can't get the experience until you get in there and do it. It's the same thing within your own internal organizations. If you're not speaking up and volunteering for things that continue to expand you outside of your existing role, you're never going to be able to continue to grow in your career. Not never, but it's going to make it a lot harder. Internal narrative can be so tricky sometimes too. My son has dyslexia, and I realized once he started negative self-talking himself a lot, I started going, God, where is this coming from? And then I'd find myself during the day being like, that was dumb. Like, oh, I'm so dumb. Why'd I do that? Right? I was negative self-talking myself. So I thought it was just something that he was, but it was a learned behavior from hearing me do this all the time. So it's changing that narrative and fixing that confidence. You have to reframe how you see yourself and how you think about yourself as you come into these roles. And it can come in like a negative self-talk of like, oh, I'm going to take on this project, and what if I mess up? What if I make a mistake? My first grader says, mistakes are how you learn, Mom. I'm like, well, yeah, but sometimes you make big ones when you're a grown up. And again, like reframing all of this, it's going to take time, you guys. This isn't, you're going to walk away from this and be like, my imposter syndrome's gone. No, I wish. That'd be great. Right? You got to continue to work at these. There's little habits and little things that you can start doing for yourself to remind yourself how good you are and how capable and important that you are in these roles. And just continue to create opportunities for yourself. Visibility it's going to come back to that double-edged sword. It's tricky. It's hard. Sometimes it's easier to just stay hidden. But if you want to grow and continue to do well, and then also at some point maybe manage people out of this or be a mentor for someone, it's important to start leading by that example of what you want to see. Representation, I think this is really a theme throughout the entire presentation, right? It goes hand in hand with visibility. It goes with all of imposter syndrome. It's when you don't see yourself in a room, whether it's with leadership, if it's with someone that looks different than you or acts different or is maybe way more quiet or way more loud and outspoken, right? Representation can be any given thing at any given time. It's hard to see ourselves stepping into leadership roles when there's still such a skewed number of male to female, right? This is kind of for the women a little bit here, but it's hard to see ourselves to step into those leadership roles when we don't actually see ourselves represented in those leadership roles is a big part of it. Or really see anybody with some of the challenges that you might feel like you have. And hold on, I lost my spot, guys, sorry. I guess like the point is here too, don't be afraid to just apply for the job. If you meet 70% of the qualifications, I guarantee you your boss applied for their job and they met probably 50% of the qualifications, right? It's retraining that confidence of I'm actually qualified, and if I'm not, I can get up to speed and I can figure it out. I think we're all in this industry because we're troubleshooters. We like to figure things out, and we're able to figure things out. So I think being able to put yourself into those situations to make sure your demographic is represented is really important. Don't let this be a personal weakness, right? Don't let imposter syndrome be a personal weakness at all. Start identifying your internal monologue and understand it's kind of that fight or flight response to whatever environment you're currently in. And shift like your personal narrative and, get more context on whatever it is that you're working on. Ask for support, ask for opportunities in these rooms that you're in. If you're in a meeting and it's something as simple as like, I need someone to put this spreadsheet together, sure, I'll do it. Because then once you start working on those projects, then you're going to be the person that they're like, oh, they're really good at helping out with this. Or then you're understanding and learning a little bit more. And it's okay to ask questions. Oh, confidence. It's huge. We keep touching on this a little bit, right? These are all kind of themes throughout everything. Feeling or lack of confidence can also be mistaken as just being afraid to do something. So you might feel like you're afraid to do something, and it could be a lack of confidence or vice versa, right? You might be like, oh, I'm not confident enough for that, but that's just your fear talking. And it means that you care about your career, you care about whatever it is in your personal life forward. You care about what others think about you, and how it might relate to the industry or how you're working with people internally within your hospitals. Confidence isn't something that people are just born with. It's something that it takes time to develop, and it's external structures. It's from childhood. It's all through. Everybody has such a backstory, and invisible backpacks, right? Everybody has an invisible backpack with shit in it. Like, so much shit is in there, and you never know how. Yeah, you never know what's in there that's led the person to be who they are today. Kim hears me all the time, like, I'm not that confident of a person, but I'm like, I get up here and I just like to talk, so I just keep going, and then I kind of muff it all together a little bit here and there. Mistakes are how you grow. Mistakes are how you learn. Mistakes are how you build that confidence. You can't beat yourself up over making mistakes. I had a boss, and this doesn't actually apply to our industry as much, but I worked for Philips Healthcare for a little bit. I was booked orders for them, and I messed up on booking a sales order. And I was, I don't know, like 25. And she goes, did someone die because of what you did today? And I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, I can think that. But now that doesn't apply. So don't fully listen to that, but it's just an example of like, what's your worst case scenario in this, right? Or what can you do to ask questions to gain help, to help you be like, teach me how to do this. And then that continues to build your confidence in your roles. Confidence can also look like setting yourself up with different statements or justifications of this might be wrong, or what are my credentials to do this? And all of that it kind of shows us that lack of confidence, right? So we question ourselves constantly. I do, all the time. We're on a girls' night, and my husband's like, do you think I feel bad when I go golfing? Why do you feel bad going out to dinner with your friends? I'm like, I don't know. I should be home. Yeah, always. But all of this to say is that you need to set yourself up with different statements, right? You need to kind of retrain, catch yourself having a negative thought about yourself and say, oh, like, actually, what would this person say about me? What would this person say about me instead? Or, and understand that you don't always need more confidence to take on a role or a project. You're going to build that confidence by stepping outside of your comfort zone in your everyday life. That's the biggest thing. You have to continue. This is a little bit outside of my comfort zone, not all the way, but I loved like speech class in college. It was great. I digress. But you have to continue to push yourself into different situations that are going to challenge your current way of thinking. That's it. Or if you're fine and you're happy wherever you are, then roll with it. But I think at some point, everybody's going to feel as if they're not 100% confident to take on a role that they're looking for. I did. They gave me an executive title when I started this job. Executive of what? Okay. We're gonna do a little reflection. You guys all have your cute little notebooks. Does everybody have one? Who needs one? Nobody? Brittany, do you have one? You guys need one? Anybody?
Oh, she did say cute.
I did say cute.
I was like, oh, there's a notepad here.
I think they're fun. Okay. So raise your hand if you've ever assumed that people in the room were more confident than you? Raise them all the way up. Now look around. Carol, it's because you're such a badass.
No, I think I do see the world differently.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I thought they were more confident than me. Not that I'm a hugely confident person. I remember growing up thinking I am not the smartest person in the world, but I work hard.
Yeah.
Right? It was almost like I tried to figure out ways to turn it inside out. And so I think that left me with, I don't know that everybody, there are people in the room that are much more confident than me. And I hope nobody dies from it.
Yeah.
Because there's that really thin line between confidence
Yeah.
and arrogance.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a lot of people that exude confidence. And I've been around enough that you can, that's a really good costume you're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're overcompensating or something.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that the everyone in the room thing, it has always really felt very diversified.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know there's somebody next to me that's as terrified as I am. Some people that are, I'm in the mix here. Somewhere.
Yeah, that's a good perspective. I like it.
We can remember, I was in the room when there were barely anybody.
You were.
So,
You were.
There were only like 6 of us in the room anyway.
Yeah. And I guess one of the questions I'd like you to ask yourselves here, for those of you that are feeling that, not Carol, just kidding. What are others doing that make you think that they're more confident than you? Is it their posture? Are they asking questions? Are they taking notes? Are they dressed nicer than you? Is their hair done different? It could be so many different things that we're kind of externally judging other people in that room a little bit and comparing ourselves to them. So for me, it's sitting still. I'm like, when my son went through his ADD diagnosis, I looked at the doctor and go, are you talking to me or him? And he goes, him, but I mean, watching you too. And
I think I'm going to speak up again.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about your point about it goes all the way back to childhood, and I think
Yeah.
about some of the voices that were in my childhood.
Yeah.
Family, friends, strangers, whatnot. And I think allowing yourself to begin differentiating the noise.
Mm-hmm.
There loud does not equal confidence.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what's coming with the behavior.
Yeah.
And so I think there were things to me that were from a very young age that signaled this is loud and demanding, but doesn't have a lot of valuable substance to it.
Yeah.
It's manipulative.
Yeah.
Right? To make me stay in a place.
Yeah.
Right? And so I am wired a bit rebellious. Just a little bit. But it was, as you grow, you decide what am I going to sort of put up with and what am I not going to put up with.
Yeah.
And so it's allowing, and to this day, I still have to think about, what's the quality of this voice, right? Because I want to be around confident people.
Yeah.
Confidence breeds confidence, especially if you have a team collaborative.
Yeah.
Reality.
Yeah. I'll give an example too, and I just couldn't find the right picture, but I was with a group of girlfriends last week, and I was talking to them about giving this presentation, and my friend was like, all of us have imposter syndrome. And I'm like, Shelly, you own a successful business. And she's like, all the time. And Ashley's like, I do. And I'm like, you're a successful real estate agent. I went through all of my friends. There was a nursing student, high school math teacher, and every single one of them feels this way at some point in their personal or professional life. And they're all people that are doing really good things and big things. So it's every social media. That's what breeds it. And also, I think imposter syndrome tries to convince you that you're the only person in the room feeling this way. So it's just that simple retraining of like, if you feel like you're, oh, I don't belong here. I don't think I should, like, pinch yourself, flick yourself every time you have a negative thought to start training that out. My thing's not working anymore. Megan. Okay. I guess I'm up here anyways. The cost of imposter syndrome can be incredibly high for people as well as organizations that you're working in with or for. Employees and peers should all be encouraged to grow into their roles and out of those feelings of imposter syndrome. It starts with leadership. And some of the hidden costs of this are that people are going to have delayed leadership roles. Maybe someone's not going to take a leadership role till they're like 55 because 60, because that's when they finally feel qualified, right? How do we start breeding the mentality that this should start earlier and for everybody in their career within the first couple years, taking that on? You're going to get burnt out because you're constantly questioning yourself, or you're going to feel like your ideas aren't valid anymore. And ultimately, a lot of times what you might see is people might exit roles or an organization where they're not feeling incredibly supported. It all kind of, all of those costs filter into each other a little bit, right? They're that checks and balances, and they lead over, and it could be any one or all of these things are going to continue to happen unless, one, we start to coach it out of ourselves, and then maybe we become a mentor and we start coaching it out of other people. Right? You have to find the person, whether it's in your personal life or your professional life, that can help talk you through all of this a little bit. And there's probably plenty of people in this room that will have those conversations with you, even though they might be feeling that way as well. Don't let yourself get burnt out. I've done that before. I did take 7 months off after that, and it was glorious, but don't do it. Yeah, and I mean, and really what's going to happen too is you're going to lose expertise in the industry if people get burnt out because they're not feeling like they're supported. So some behavior patterns that you might see that come along with imposter syndrome are going to be, and they might resonate with you. I encourage people, it's like, again, we're coming back to the love language of imposter syndrome. Write these down and like challenge yourself on which type am I? Like, what behavior do I exhibit because I'm feeling a little bit of imposter syndrome? So there's the perfectionist, the expert, the soloist, and then a fearful kind of personality associated with that. And we'll dive in, we'll kind of talk a little bit more about this. And please, this is open forum. If you have anything to say at any point, like, take over. I'm kidding. The perfectionist may over-prepare for a meeting or work or try to evaluate any and all questions or information that might come up just to be sure they have all their bases covered. And they might only speak up in a meeting if they're 100% certain of the answer. There's no waiver on that. It's a hyperfixation. It's believing that something's not allowed to be flawless or it's a failure. So I think one of the questions you can ask yourself if you feel like you're relating to the perfectionist is, am I striving for excellence, or am I delaying the progress because I'm afraid it won't be perfect? The expert, thank you. The expert might feel as though they need more credentials. I need another certificate. I need another degree. I need to go back to school for this. I need to take more classes on this, right? You feel like unless you have all of these like check boxes of things, you're not actually qualified to take on new roles or projects. Competence is, I just want people to remember too, so like when you look at this, you're going to also probably compare yourself to others and see how that also measures up. Like, oh, like what are their qualifications to do this job, right? Competence is demonstrated through growth and experience, and just those little impacts throughout your daily life. It's not through all the certificates and the degrees that you can have. So your question here to kind of shake yourself out if you're resonating with the expert would be, am I measuring my growth or only focusing on what I don't know yet? The soloist. I'm a little bit of this one. You avoid asking for help because you're afraid it might be seen as incompetence, or that collaboration is a weakness, and ultimately you might overcommit yourself and struggle to actually get things done to completion because you're too afraid that you're going to look like you don't know what you're doing. And it could be out of a fear of embarrassment. It comes back to childhood, right? How many of us were embarrassed as kids? All the time. Or it might be worrying that needing support could cause you to be exposed for not having all of it together and not having everything that you need to actually complete whatever it is that you're working on, right? Again, this is general, right? Because we all take on different roles. But if this is you, just remember, teamwork makes the dream work. And then that question you should ask yourself is, would I judge my colleague for asking for my input? Or would I see it as a collaboration and helping them? Mm-hmm.
You're just, well, you should know this. That's all. So basically, because I'm working on
Yeah.
kids, you ask questions, you're going to get punished. So
yeah. That's hard. I had a boss that once told me there was no such thing as dumb questions, just dumb employees that asked them. Yep. It was the early 2000s.
Like when I started off in my current role, we would get shunned a lot by our lead for asking any sorts of questions. If you didn't know everything, you would hire someone knowing that they didn't have experience in the field, and then belittle them constantly. Since then, he got resigned.
Yeah.
But then the culture has shifted around 100%, where now we can have good people and we're very welcomed and trained well.
Yeah. I feel like there's changes. I think things are coming around a little bit more, but there's always work to do. Okay, fearful. So obviously this pattern's rooted in fear, right? Fear of being exposed, judged, not seen as being enough. And that fear can create a heightened internal pressure within yourself where even small missteps might feel incredibly magnified. Could be an overreaction to feedback or just unexpected challenges. I'm also this, that aren't about the situation itself, but that worry that someone's judging your work or that you're going to lose credibility along the way. Does that make sense? Some of the questions you can ask yourself on this is, do I genuinely need more information, or is this based out of fear? Or is this a story that I'm telling myself, or am I responding to a situation? So it's just heightened pressures, like sometimes overreactions to things, or feeling judgment, or judging yourself. It's all based on like imposter syndrome. It's all based on not feeling like you should actually be where you're at. You might not fall under one pattern either. It might be a couple. I'm a couple of these. But just try recognizing these also as strengths and just acknowledging the fact that you don't need to be 100%. You don't need all of the certificates. You can continue to build that as you go. I'll help you grow personally and professionally once you start recognizing some of this in yourself too.
I think your point about turning these into strengths
Mm-hmm.
that's a very powerful statement.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, really think trust, like an overreaction by who's measuring.
Yeah.
Right? Like who's measuring?
Yeah.
My daughter and I talk about all the time. The tears come all the time. It's not because we're sad or afraid.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're angry. Sometimes we're happy. That's just how the passion comes out.
Yeah.
And overreacting is someone else's measure.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that turn it into a strength, measure it by your standards, by what you want to achieve, by what what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of something? For me, my bigger fear is that something's going to happen to Teresa if I don't do this.
Yeah.
Right? Like, or to one of my kids, or my parents. If I don't act, if I don't find the confidence and whatever, for me, it's an outward fear. Being able to name that takes some of the fear away.
Yeah.
Because now you can create a plan of action. You can figure out what can I do, where do I need help. So you always want to do more stuff. Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And that's the other thing I think is all the way back to, and this is sort of a funny story. I grew up in a neighborhood. My parents said everybody had to have a 2-year-old boy to get a mortgage because they were all like my brother's 2-year-old boys around the neighborhood. So
Yeah.
Like sister, everybody. Which meant I was constantly breaking up fights or carrying somebody home or whatever.
Yeah.
I think there was that. Not that I wasn't having my own issues or whatever, but it is always easier to do something for someone else. And sometimes I think doing that allows. If I saw Teresa in a bad situation, right, and I intervene, even though it's the same thing I'm afraid of or don't have confidence. Somehow I gain from that by just sort of defending or lifting up or whatever, even though I know I am totally guilty of the same scenario.
Yeah.
Right? And so sometimes not being so trying to fix me, but trying to do things is sometimes easier, especially I think maybe easier for us as women because we are raised to take care of our 2-year-old boys and all their friends.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just easier hanging the picture than ask for help. It's mine. I'm just gonna do it myself.
Well, that's the fine line.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It is. Yeah.
Can't step over and do it for them.
Yeah. Hey, Steve.
So much for sneaking.
Oh. So kind of your reflection here, when you succeed, because we're doing positive, what do you attribute it to? Do you attribute it to your skill? Do you attribute it to luck? Do you attribute it to timing or teamwork? It could be any and all of them, right? You could look at it, you could really see it always.
Luck happens when you have the skill of observing.
Yeah.
Placing yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, if you're giving luck, timing, teamwork, that credit, give yourself permission to actually own those wins and successes. It's not arrogance. It's building your confidence and talking yourself out of imposter syndrome. I'm gonna kind of speed it up. I think I'm gonna run out of time. Some ways to recognize and help you grow out of imposter syndrome are to speak up in conversations, actively contributing your ideas, perspectives, even if you're nervous or unsure about it at first. You'll find that once you start offering your opinions and talking more, it gets easier and easier over time to continue doing that. Volunteer for the visible projects. Take on an opportunity, whether it's small or big, in order to help build your personal credibility. Because once you start getting those successes, it's going to feel a lot better and a lot easier to continue doing that. Tell yourself, I am ready enough now. Self-affirmations that are going to continue to build your confidence and your self-narrative, other than the I'm not ready yet mindset. Not shutting it down. And then, just continue to gain your experience by getting involved and hands-on participation. It's going to continue to build your competence, your confidence, and then, it takes away that idea of, oh, I got to wait until I'm fully ready. So, I know that there's some parents in the room, but, oh, shoot, I didn't mean to do that. Went too far. Does anyone else, like some of the parents in the room, do you constantly second guess what you're doing?
Yeah.
Oh my God, all the time, right? And I think that going through some challenges that I've gone through with my son over the last couple years has really shifted my perspective on being more confident. I'm like, oh, they're the teachers, like they know more than me. No, I pay your salary. You're in public school. Like I pay you to do a job and you're not doing it. We're doing the work at home, and I've had to talk myself out of that. I also have a very wonderful village, and my mom's like, you pay their salary, and my sister-in-law's like, I'm a teacher, that's not how they should be doing it. And I'm like, okay. Like, can you guys come to these meetings with me? Right? But I think it's those little things, right? If you look at, like, we question ourselves in our jobs all the time. Some of us, most of us, I question myself in my job a lot, but it means that you care. It means that you want to do a good job. So let's just, keep digressing a little bit. Healthcare is
a very applicable digression, though.
Yeah.
Like, why not bring them to the meeting? I mean, when you think about
I know.
the professional environment,
I know.
you know the experts.
Yeah.
Competency is bringing the right expert.
Yeah.
Like, do that.
Yeah.
Like, don't not
Yeah.
bring the expert.
Oh, I would like send my sister-in-law the IEP. I'm like, should I sign this? She's like, not yet. And I'm like, okay. She's like, ask for this. I'm like, okay.
Because now you have the village.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
It changes the whole dynamic.
Yeah. Yeah.
You brought the village.
Yeah. Well,
The village says, village is morning. I had to freaking try this out. You got it. I'll try to.
I think something that we all need to remember too is that healthcare is ever changing and dynamic in so many different ways. And once we can start recognizing what our internal monologue is and changing that, then we can also start to overcome these feelings associated with imposter syndrome. Things are ever changing. I've been on the ultrasound side of the service business for years, and I'm still learning new stuff every single day. It's constantly. I thought I had it all. Reframing self-talk. And I think we've touched on this a lot during the presentation, but it's just, instead of saying I'm not ready, tell yourself that you can actually bring value while you're learning. I think that's going to be the biggest thing, like pausing yourself and stopping yourself in those moments and acknowledging that you're not actually talking kindly to yourself about whatever it is, or you're shutting yourself down before you've even had an opportunity to see if you could be successful in whatever role or project that you're trying to work on. And I mean, it seems simple enough, but it can be hard. I say to some of my friends too, and I'm like, if there was a picture of you as a 6-year-old hanging up, like would you be saying this to 6-year-old you? Or would you be saying this about yourself to 6-year-old you? No, you wouldn't. That would be awful. You can still be 6-year-old you and shift your personal narrative. So I bring value while I'm learning. Right? Don't doubt yourselves. Let's continue to be positive and shift that confidence. Fake it till you make it. This is a big one, and this is something that I think you should do all along the way, no matter what level you're at. Little reminders: build yourself a success file, print out a positive email, and hang it up on your computer. Right? You get those, or if someone leaves a nice note for you, make sure you keep that. If you have, save these emails, have a folder of I'm a badass. I need to remind myself why I'm a badass, right? Like put all of these positive emails or these like successes and wins in a file in a folder. And then also maybe print hard copies for yourself because you never know when your computer's going to get shut off. So that
Sounded like experience.
forward it to your personal email, just so that you can have that to remind yourself of all the successes and the positive wins. It helps you document the impact that you're making in your role. Even like in your, if you get good stuff about your kids, send that to an email to be like, oh, okay, like they're awful today. Like I need to go look at something nice about them, right? Like do that for yourself. Like it'll really, really help. I used to have Post-its all over my desk about like the funny things customers would say to me. I need to do that more again. Although my kids can read, so.
So, a lot of people hang their degrees behind them, so when
Yeah.
someone's talking, they can see. I hang them in front of me, so that that is what I see when I'm on the phone with people, when I'm on video meetings.
Yeah.
I see that, plus I have a billboard, or not billboard, bulletin board.
Yeah.
With all my things and what I do.
Yeah.
That I'm capable.
Yeah. That's a good one. Let yourself see it. Yeah.
You brought up the parenting aspect of it. One thing that I myself was trying to 4-year-old tantrum when he's doing something mean. I tell him that he is a nice boy and that he is kind.
Yeah.
And that he can change his behavior.
Yeah.
And I kind of find myself telling myself that too. It's like I am like just as like a 4-year, I'm training a 4-year-old person.
Yeah.
Like, using that technique on myself to be like, because I have a problem with internalizing others, like investment and telling me like, oh, you're doing this, I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
How? Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like just, like you said, the affirmations really help.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would have that parenting parallel.
Yeah.
Where telling your child, you are this.
Yeah.
You know they are.
Yeah.
You've seen it.
Yeah.
You have to remind yourself that they are.
Yeah.
But you're also telling them that they are.
Yeah.
So, yeah, validation there is.
Yeah. It relates a lot. Thank you. What else? Okay, we're close. Mentorship. I can't even explain to you the power of mentorship or the handful of people in this room that I can call at any given point and just be like, I just need to talk about something. And I don't know if I need to vent. I don't know if I need advice. Like, I just need to talk this out right now. And mentorship builds your confidence. And you, even if you don't feel confident, you might gain more confidence through mentoring someone, right? And you don't have to work side by side with them. Sometimes it's nice to have someone outside of your own work world that can help you out. And all of the people that I seek mentorship from, none of them live in Seattle. Like we're all across the country. And you can just call and be like, I need to talk this out. Like, what can I do? What do you think about this? And it's been so helpful the last couple years to have some sort of a mentorship. So, visibility, strategic visibility. We come back to this again, right? Visibility can be a terrifying thing for some people, but continue to volunteer for these projects, right? Build a bigger presence at meetings. Did I say present? Yep, I sure did. Oh, present at meetings. Build a bigger presence at meetings. Present on the smallest thing, or bring up an issue that you had with a machine. And I guarantee you 5 or 6 other people in the room might be struggling with something similar. And guess what? Like, you all are able to troubleshoot and solve those problems together. And I told someone this, but I said, even if you think you're not ready to get up and present like this at a conference, or even if it's with WSBA, I'm just gonna kind of put that out there a little bit too. Think about an issue that you're having at work. How many other people across the industry do you think are having that same issue? and they might just want to talk it out a little bit. Like that also comes back to the mentorship of, we have a women in leadership, a group chat, and some of us are technical, some of us are not. And some of us will go, like the technical girls will go in and be like, hey, what you guys got about this? Like, what do we know? How can we fix this problem? And my response is to turn it off and turn it back on, not technical. Yeah. Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. Did you try a different pour? Yeah. So that comes back to like part in your industry. I know Washington Biomed hasn't been as strong in the last couple of years, but we've got a lot of momentum right now, and there's a lot of exciting things coming up, especially with this here. It's where you're going to find your mentor. It's where you're going to get visibility, maybe at other organizations, or even if it's at a different site from what you're currently working at, or maybe it's with a vendor. Maybe a vendor's like, I like you, I want to hire you, right? Like you never know where your next opportunity is going to come from. And if you just stay in your work cave and don't get out of that, you're never going, it's going to be a lot more difficult to continue to grow. Organizational strategies. So just normalize having growth conversations at work, whether it's or a teammate, like, oh, what's coming up next? What's happening next? I talked to someone down in Arizona a couple months ago, and she's like, well, I just really want to apply for this promotion, but then I don't know, all the younger gals keep on applying, and I want to see them grow and succeed. And I'm like, but you're amazing. You should also do this for yourself and get into these influential roles. Just, publicly recognize your different contributions. Or if you see someone doing something and you're in a team meeting, be like, hey, I saw Brandy do this last week. It was fantastic. I want to give her a shout out. Like, continue to build others up around you. And in order to build that supportive environment at your company. Training pathways. So this is really a lot for companies, right? Like, offer opportunities for the people that you're working with, or find these opportunities and bring them to your company and be like, hey, this would be really good because of X, Y, and Z. Or even if you're in a leadership position, rotate some different leadership things like, hey, can you help with this side project? But then give everybody an opportunity to do that and learn something about what you're doing in your leadership role. I feel like Megan's stalking me right now. Reflect and act. So this is where you can use your notebooks again too, but what's one specific action you can take over the next few weeks to show up and show yourself that you're capable?